So Disney decided to rehire James Gunn to direct the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Okay, all fine and well. It's kind of, it's nice to see someone actually receiving forgiveness for past mistakes and is able to continue his career. But must be nice to be a liberal, because there's people have another point of view that tends to not to get that sort of grace from Hollywood. Well, as I said, must be nice to be a liberal.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And from the illustrious studios here in West Memphis, Arkansas, this is Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, it's all the same name, at Trend Chat 24/7. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, Disney had a pretty busy week so far, with the news with James Gunn being rehired, and also with the merger with Disney and with 21st Century Fox is finally official now. So I don't know anything about these big corporations, the big merger deals, but wow, it really took a long time. But look, you talk about billions of dollars being moved around. So I somewhat understand, but either way, it's finished. And yeah, I've just mentioned that because like I said, with Disney as well, with what they did with which is kind of unprecedented, because they normally kind of stand their ground as far as when they make a decision. Like with James Gunn, they just gonna go with it, but they changed their mind and went. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it's very it must be great to be a liberal, especially in Hollywood, because I would say just the road to forgiveness is a lot smoother. Matter of fact, as opposed to if you're a conservative in Hollywood. Matter of fact, there is no road to forgiveness if you're a conservative. It seems like if you're in Hollywood. So, but that being said, like I said, he'll be back, and I guess I'm not gonna get too much more into it, because that's all I really had on it. On that, I think I mentioned about it before, back when he was first fired. I talked about it in previous episodes. Off the top of my head, I don't remember which ones. But again, this is Trend Chat with Brian Bledsoe, and I am your host, Brian Bledsoe. And I would love for you to like, share, and subscribe. I've noticed I haven't been saying this a lot, and I kind of felt, I don't know, I guess I felt guilty in wanting to, make that known a lot, because I guess I didn't want to feel like I'm pushy on you, or pushing this on you. But I think it needs to be said, mainly because sometimes maybe people just don't really, think about doing those things, which help a lot. You have no idea how much it helps to do any of those things. If you do all three of them, matter of fact, not all three. If you like, share, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating on wherever you listen, on whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, other podcast outlets that I don't know that we're on. That helps tremendously. And on that, I want to give a shout out to Janessa Shaley. I hope I said your name right, because she is the first person that I know of. Now, someone else maybe have posted a review before. I just didn't know. But I'm just giving her a shout out because she told me. So, yeah, shout out to Janessa for putting a review on Apple Podcasts. And that is, I can't say thank you enough, and I would just encourage more to do that. So, yeah. So, thank you. And yes, as I said, leave a review. Matter of fact, we just opened reviews on Facebook to, put 5 stars. I expect 5 stars, but you do you. You put the review down. Now I want to hear feedback and about the show, and I'm open to hear your critique, I guess. So now, unlike last week where we knew where we were going and we knew what the title was going to be, that is not the case tonight. That is not the case, because as of right now, we are recording this and I have no clue what the title of this episode is going to be, other than episode 134. Outside of that, I have no clue. So as you're hearing this, I'm I know you're going to see a title. I'm just letting you know now, the title came after we finished putting this together. And yeah, so maybe I probably should get better in thinking of a title, especially if I'm going to start doing more live episodes, because then you need to have a title then. But that being said, well, for one, this is being recorded on Thursday, March 21st, which means March Madness has started. And honestly, I did not even know the tournament was starting until like Monday. It really snuck up on me more than any other year. Normally, I would have some idea. I would know the selection show is coming on the past Sunday and all that. And it just seems year after year, I'm guessing by next year, the tournament will be going on, and then I know. But either way, I think, last year I didn't do a bracket because it came like, I didn't think about it till the week of, and I wasn't finna try to fill out all those brackets. And so I didn't even bother filling out one. And I'm not doing it this year. Now it's too late. I'm guessing, I guess you can do other brackets. But either way, if I was going to make a pick, I said Duke. I don't know. I think they're probably the number 1 seed anyway. But the only reason I'm picking Duke, that's the team I've been hearing about. So I'm guessing maybe they'll win. But, if you know anything about March Madness, it could be them. It could be someone you never even heard of, at least But I guess to keep it on sports a little bit, one other thing that I saw that just recently happened. Matter of fact, before we get to that, let's hear a word from my friends from the Founder Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, We think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
This is Dana Lash, and you're listening to Trend Chat.
All right. Now, I know the figure I'm going to give you right now is, well, it's a figure I can't even imagine having, let alone, yeah. So, $435 million. If I'm not mistaken, I think $435 million. That's almost $500 million. And that is what Mike Trout got for his his next contract, which is the biggest, most richest contract ever. Which, who knows, whoever the next major baseball star, or maybe will surpass that in time. But my goodness, $430 million. And I've heard a couple of people looking on social media, and normally you hear this all the time whenever some of these like a big deal like this come out, and they're like, how in the world so you could justify paying someone that much money to play a game, or, in this case, play baseball? And to them, I will say that's what the market pays. If that's what someone wants to pay you, then that's what you're worth. I definitely wouldn't turn it down. If someone says, okay, I want to pay you $435 million to do a podcast, I mean, like, okay, I guess I'm yeah, sure. And if that's what the rate is, then yeah, that's what I'm going to take. That just blows my mind, being able to get that sort of contract. I mean, I would love for that to be let's not even take it to that level, because yeah. When Trend Chat is not looking to go to that level, but if someone, let's just take it to a couple of thousand for me, right? Someone just say, hey, we'll pay you a couple thousand to do the podcast. I'm like, what? Really? Yeah, so I jump on that. But more power to him, man. And it's, what a time to be alive. So, matter of fact, speaking of dreams, right? Because we here at podcast, if we were able to be signed for $435 million, that is a dream, right? That is a dream for us. And hey, if it happens, it happens. We're not, like I said, we're not going to turn it down if that ever comes about. And I would love to play back this episode when we have acquired that much wealth. And like, well, that was me back then. Here I am with $500 million. Anyway, again, as I said, that is a dream. And so in talking about dreams, let's kind of get into something that I posted on Facebook and Instagram. And I might well talk about it because I still remember it. So I guess quickly, I want to talk about this dream I had last night, which was so weird. And I don't know if this is going to resonate with you. And because first, let me ask the question. Have you ever had a dream where somewhere within that dream, someone referred to something that was a actual dream of yours, like decades ago. But in the dream that you're having, the current dream, that old dream you had is considered real. Now I know I'm probably lost some of you if you're in hearing that, but I'm just saying that because it kind of somewhat of a framework, which that was probably more confusing than anything. So I'm just gonna now I remember it now because like right after I woke up, I just kind of typed it all out because I had a feeling I'll probably talk about this. So just kind of cut through it right quick. So in this dream, I was covering some sort of event. I don't have that much detail about what was going on, but it was some sort of event. And apparently it was at my old church back in Alabama, Macedonia Baptist Church in Lafayette. And so, but it looked different. It didn't look like how the church looks now. It was bigger and whatnot. And also, I guess I would say a lot of times, I don't know about you, but like, if you're watching something or maybe have been talking about a particular issue, you tend to dream about it. So in talking about the church, I was doing something for the church the past couple of days. So that I kind of can see why that was in the dream, because that was in my mind. But so anyway, I'm covering this event at my old church back in Alabama, and I walk outside. I actually walk into what looks like a lobby area of a restaurant, and okay, this is where this finna start getting a little weird. So then Glenn Beck, of all people, asked me to come and sit at the table with some other people just to have lunch or whatnot. Okay, I'm like, okay, that wasn't that weird. I mean, okay, for one, I saw Glenn Beck at CPAC, actually took a picture with him and chatted for like a second. So okay. And then while I was at this table, I'm talking about Trend Chat, talking about this podcast that you're listening to. And the guy that was sitting next to me was just asking me about the podcast, how it's going and whatnot. And I'm just saying, like, we're trying to grow, we're doing this and that, and just trying to see where we could take it to the next level and whatnot. And then his suggestion for us to take it to the next level was to quit my job and do this podcast full time, like quit driving, quit being a truck driver and just do the podcast, which okay, that's insane, right? At this point. Don't get me wrong. If it gets to the point where we could do that, that'd be great, but that's not where we're at right now. And to just up and just quit right now would just be foolish. So anyway, I guess I just walked away from that conversation, because next thing I know, I was back in the auditorium room where this event is still going on in the church. And then I meet Deneen Borelli, who was in the back. I guess she's covering it too. And then we got to talking about that conversation I just had with this other guy at the table with Glenn Beck. Okay. And so I'm asking for her advice. I'm like, what in the world? I was just wondering, that was kind of weird. And then we talked for a second. And then after that, I made my way down to the front of the auditorium where someone was performing, singing. And now this is when the wheels kind of fall off a little bit on it, because I'm up front of this auditorium and the person is performing, and the person comes straight to me and asks me if I want some breakfast. I said, yeah, sure. Now, and then the person kisses me. This is a woman. Turn to find out, it was Selena Gomez. Now I have no idea. I don't even know where this came from. I didn't know, was this Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez, because I was confused. But either way, after this happened, that's when in my mind I'm like, okay, this is really, I don't get what's going on in this world. And so this is where I'm starting to come to the realization that I might be dreaming. I mean, obviously, someone like Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez or whatever, all of a sudden just kisses me out of nowhere, asking me about breakfast. Okay, then I'm starting to get skeptical. So, but nevertheless, I go through with it a little bit more, and I go to breakfast. Turn to find out it's a buffet. It is a buffet with Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is there at the breakfast buffet. Look, I don't know, but now then he got to talking to me, and at this point, this is where I knew I was dreaming. Like in the dream, this is where I was like, yep, this is a dream, because while we was talking, he get to talking about, hey, but I'm not going to do his voice. I'm not going to try to mimic it. But yeah, you remember back when we won those championships, and that was the point right there, because that was like hold up, and that was a dream I did actually have. Like I had a dream about playing for the Lakers and winning championships. And so now I wasn't Kobe or nothing like that. I wasn't even that good in my own dream, which is sad, actually. Normally, if you're dreaming, normally you'll be like Wilt Chamberlain or you'll be like Michael Jordan in your own dream. But I wasn't even that good in my own dream. That was, looking back at that dream, it was sad. But either way, in this dream that I had last night, Shaquille O'Neal refers to an old dream I had and making it seem like it was real. But either way, that's when I knew, yep, this is a dream. Like I am waking up. This is like Inception. If anyone's seen the movie Inception, this is like when the dream is collapsing and I have realized I'm waking up, that this is a dream. But unlike Inception, things didn't start blowing up or whatever. The dream ended real quickly, which normally happens when I'm like, I don't know how many of you are listening that have that happen where you realize you're in a dream while you're dreaming. Sometimes that happens. I know for me, when I'm dreaming, sometimes I realize I'm dreaming, and then as soon as I realize I'm dreaming, the dream ends real quick. It doesn't end like instantaneously. It just kind of slowly ends in like a minute or two, which, to be honest, those are actually the most fun minutes, because that's when I start doing crazy stuff. Because when I know I'm dreaming, I just start trying to fly. I mean, anyway, I mean, I'm dreaming. I can do whatever I want. But anyway, in that, I was talking to Shaq, and Shaq agreed to come on the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, that was a good time to end the dream. And then next thing I know, I woke up. So, and I'm like, man. So, but yeah, that's about as much you're going to hear about Shaquille O'Neal being on this podcast, is me talking about this dream. Unless somebody listening would give it this, share this to Shaq, and maybe he'll listen like, hey, maybe I might want to. Okay, I'll do the voice a little bit. Maybe I might come on. But that's a horrible voice. So anyway, I just wanted to share that mainly because I wanted to. And I found it somewhat funny. But yeah, so that, yeah, I don't know how many of you have that sort of type of dreams. I don't even dream that much, but that was yeah, it wasn't the weirdest dream I had, but it was just, anyway. that was something else. But enough talking about dreams. Matter of fact, kind of go into what is shaping up to be somewhat of a nightmare, really. A nightmare that was, I guess, started from a tragedy. So, and I guess we'll talk about that But first, let's hear a word from Politichicks. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat, also contributor at Politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at Politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Hey, this is Benny Johnson. You're listening to Trend Chat with Brian Bledsoe, the best beard in the business.
By now, a lot of you probably have heard about what happened down in New Zealand with the terrorist attack down at a mosque down there, and where you had people who were there practicing their religion, and some scum of the earth basically came in and massacred over 40 people and injured more. So, and they use semi-automatic weapons and whatnot, and a number of different I guess weapons that were used, I guess. Now, that is the tragedy. That is the horror of what happened. But from that, we now have I will say a nightmare, kind of just going on the whole dream scenario. But we're just going to take this horrible situation, this horrible tragedy, this terrorist attack, and use that to hamper and to punish law-abiding citizens by banning semi-automatic rifles, which is what the Prime Minister down there has now decreed, I guess, to put it that way. So now, because of what happened, the answer in their eyes is always to blame the gun, to always to leave the people who had nothing to do with what happened, the law-abiding citizens who were there, and to make them more vulnerable and also more dependent on their government, as opposed to being responsible for their own security, or at least to have some security. So now you're going to have a situation where you're going to have millions of people, or I don't know the population in New Zealand, but it could be thousands of millions of people who are going to be basically sitting ducks to any sort of attack. Now, I know right now they're talking about just semi-automatic handguns, semi-automatic weapons or rifles, but if this could happen because the person used a certain type of weapon, okay, what's going to stop them from when they use just handguns next time or whatever? Or you have in other countries where they want to ban knives because a knife attack happened. And this is a constant cycle, which unfortunately you have a lot of people who are one, you have people in authority who are using these attacks to justify whether restricting or banning certain weapons, and just by using the emotion of the people at the time. And I'm pretty sure they have no problem having more people dependent on them, because the more dependent the people are, the easier they are to control, the easier they are to for them to stay in power. So that's a more cynical reason. Just because it's cynical doesn't make it not true either. But yeah, so now the people in New Zealand are going to be more vulnerable, and for no fault of their own either. Just because, I mean, there was already a story of people voluntarily turning in their weapons because of what happened. If you want to do it voluntarily, that's fine. I think you're stupid, but okay. If you don't feel safe with your own weapon and want to turn it in, okay, fine. I would rather you do that. If you don't feel like you can use the weapon effectively, you don't think you should have it, okay, well then yeah, let it go. I'd rather you do that and then, keep it and mess around and shoot somebody because you don't know how to use it. But again, I would say you should get some training and learn how to use it. But to each their own. That's what they want to do. So, but either way, even from that, but now you have the whole country out here banning weapons. Out here banning semi-automatic rifles. So, well, I guess we'll see. I mean, this way in New Zealand, who knows when we'll ever come back to talking about this again, and with seeing how the crime stats are now after this has been implemented. But yeah, I would bet it's not going to get any better. That's just my guess. So, but over here in America, in the States, President Trump signed a executive order today. Actually saw it on Daily Signal Facebook page, and to promote free speech on college campuses. And this is well, for one, when it comes, I think I maybe mentioned more than once about executive orders in general. They're okay, but for one, they're not legislation, and they're, it's nice. I think it serves a purpose. Let's put it that way, but it's not the ideal. I guess I would say not the ideal way to do something like this. That being said, I think it's something that needs to be needed to happen. Mainly because, well, one of the things in this executive order is withholding funds from college and universities that are perceived to be censoring free speech. And I would say, unfortunately, this is needed because we've seen too many times where people, let's just say basically conservatives, are normally shut out from, whether it's having speakers at the campus, or if they are at the campus, they try to restrict them as much as possible, or just totally cancel their events. and they use all sorts of excuses to say why they don't want to do it. But especially for those college and universities that are taking taxpayer money, or public institutions, they definitely should be held to this standard. And yeah, I don't have a problem with that, especially now if we're talking about private college and universities, which I'm pretty sure they probably take their fair share of public money as well. So it should be tied into that to that part. So, but I don't know how well this is going to be received. I don't think it's going to be received that well, especially in most of these colleges and universities. They're probably going to sue. Who knows? They're going to do everything they can to not enact this executive order as much as possible. And I'm pretty sure they'll be cheered from the people in the media who would challenge this executive order. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work. I think it will work in some cases, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of pushback from these colleges and universities. I mean, it's almost something that I could just see them licking their chops about this. We're like, oh yeah, we could fight the president, because it is no secret that most of these colleges and universities are lean. No, scratch that. They don't lean. They're not tilted. No, it's not even tilted. They're laying like parallel to the ground left. There ain't no leaning. They're not leaning. They're not tilted. They're laying straight to the left. So most of these places are considered of higher learning, or basically at this point, given all the nonsense that you see coming out of college and universities, it's just basically just training grounds for communism in a lot of places. But that's a little hyperbole, maybe. But that being said, I'm will be interested to see how this is going to really work out in the coming months, years, really. But maybe something else will come out of it. I don't know. But I really want to keep an eye on this and see will any improvement happen on the college campuses. So, I was thinking about doing one other thing, but maybe I won't. I won't do that. I've already been weird enough talking about this dream, which I don't know. Half the people who maybe are listening maybe stop listening after I start talking about that dream. But I appreciate everyone who has been listening. And again, people, as I mentioned earlier on social media, that people who have been leaving reviews on Facebook, and I just want to mention again, just, like, share, and subscribe. And, I would just also say I really appreciate the people who are partners with us. Code1972.com. And I just received my hat from Code1972.com, a culture of life, if you don't know. So we've become partners, and I'm grateful for their support. I mean, it's fashion made for life. And so it's COL1972.com. And if you put in the code TrendChat, the name of this podcast, if you put in the code TrendChat, you'll get 10% off of whatever you like on the site. So definitely give them a shout out. Look on there, and I'm pretty sure you would like what you see and definitely want to. I will hope for you to get a lot from them. So, yeah, COL1972.com. Fashion made for life. It's culture of life. And like I said, I just got my hat, which I will be posting on. Probably post on Instagram, Facebook tomorrow. The dad hat that I got from them, and so appreciate them again. Also, as well, odgapparel.com. Great Christian to wear accessories, mugs, and everything. If you put in the code TrendChat10 at odgapparel.com, you get 10% off. And I would think you would, again, if you want to wear, shirts or hats, or even they have mugs, or even just art, right? All of it where it basically sparks a conversation or something that will at least get people to asking about, what you're wearing, and where it will get you to start a conversation, to talk about the gospel, to talk about Jesus. And that's something I'm definitely am happy to be a part of as well. And speaking of that, kind of talking about what we was mentioning about New Zealand, and just where they were taking away the rights of people to defend themselves. And it kind of just goes back to a quote that I've mentioned more times, a lot. I mention it all the time because it's one of my favorite quotes. Is where I prefer a dangerous freedom than a peaceful to a peaceful slavery. And that's one of my favorite quotes. And to mention that, 1776united.com, they not only with that quote, but they have all sorts of different shirts and hats, again, and mugs that are pro Second Amendment, patriotic, and they have shirts with that quote. I prefer a dangerous freedom than to a peaceful slavery. And so that right there caught my eye, and that's why I wanted to become part of the militia. So the 1776 militia. So I encourage you to check them out, 1776united.com. And if you put in the code 76militia-TrendChat, now that's a little more for you to remember, but let me say it again, 76militia-TrendChat, and you get 20% off your first purchase. And so, yeah, check them all out. And I can't thank them enough for supporting our podcast. And one thing I know right now, I need to get better as far as trying to integrate these. Make sure I try to be more professional in trying to kind of, maybe segue into everything. But I'm trying to figure it out. That's one thing. If you've been listening for the past over 2 years, you know that you're hearing me on the job, kind of growing and understanding how to do all this. Kind of going into, if you listen to the first episode 2 years ago, that, to now where I'm constantly learning and figuring out different things every day, really. Something new for something. So, but again, I really, here we are. Oh, at the end. Now, I was just about to do that thing, but I'm going to have to wait till next week now. I was ready to do it. But anyway, again, it's for the third time. Like, share, subscribe, leave a 5-star review on whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever. Just, we appreciate it all, and I appreciate you listening. And until next week, we'll chat with you later.